If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be an learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up. If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be an learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up. If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be an learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up. If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be an learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up. If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be an learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up. If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be a learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up. If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be a learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up.
Alright, so welcome to the watch party for the round one of the the round one manufacturers cup. Yeah, I said it right. Part of the Gran Turismo World Series of 2025, and it's starting in 2 more minutes. I gotta get the setup in because I have Gran Turismo 7. I don't want to lose We have a reward for watch manufacturers cup. This group 3 cars, so I'm about to sort out so I can get rid of ads. I try to remove ads, try to overcome the ads. So in like watching the video. I gotta be quick, so I gotta get this set up. Okay. I'll be right back.
If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be a learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up. If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be a learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up. If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be an learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up.
Alrighty. Gonna put this share screen on. I think it's time for begin the stream. It's time we react. Voice. And also for some reason, I tried doing the I have an error. We are basically making the error. It's just making an error.
It's time to meet the drivers for the Gran Turismo World Series 1 here in London. Please welcome up, first of all, representing Team Subaru, Takuma Miyazono.
Please, I know, I'm rooting for you. That's what I'm rooting for. Rooting for Subaru. Miyazono.
Representing Team Honda, Ryosuke Sugimura. Representing Team McLaren, Tomoki Koda.
Miyazono.
Representing Ferrari, it's Jun Hashima.
And I'm going to bring back the...
Representing Mazda, Ryota Kokeman. Representing Nissan, Hiroshi Okamoto. Representing Toyota, Kenta Morimoto.
I'm going to move to Subaru.
Representing Porsche, Shota Sato.
Bring it on.
Representing the reigning world champions for Team Lexus, Makami. Representing Lamborghini, Yasuki Goto. Representing Mercedes-AMG, Kojiro Sasaki. And finally, representing BMW, it's Saya Suzuki. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please stand if you're able for the national anthem of our host nation, the United Kingdom.
Bring on. Wait. Once, I will. I will pick what up. Canada. Or the thumbnail. Yeah, this.
Well, we are hugely excited to go racing here for the Manufacturers' Cup tonight in London. It's going to be hugely exciting to see what happens. Jimmy, of course, 12 teams, lots of new faces, though, on the grid here tonight.
Yeah, a ton of new variables here for this year's Manufacturers' Cup, including, of course, new drivers, a whole new balance of performance, too. It's going to make things very spicy.
Certainly is, and we've also got a couple of interviews coming up for you as well. Jules is down on the stage. He's catching up with reigning Manufacturers' Cup champion driver Kanata Kawakami, as well as Paul Yura, who's representing Team Mazda. He won the Nations Cup back in 2023 and would love to take the crown here this year for Team Mazda.
Yes, so I am down here. Well, Kanata, obviously, you know, this year is very big. Obviously, you want to retain your title, but you've had big driver changes. How is that affecting you coming into round one?
今年は結構大きな重要な年でもちろん去年に続いて今年も優勝したいわけですけど、ドライバーチェンジがかなりガラッとありましたよね。それはどういうふうな影響があると思いますか？
そうですね。ドライバー確かにヨーロッパ去年コケはジョルジオ・ガンガーの選手がチームメイトになるということで、彼も非常にベテランですし、非常に心強いメンバーだと思ってます。なのでメンバー変わりましたけれども、今年も十分チャンピオンを狙えるメンバーで臨めるのかなと思ってます。
Yeah, so of course, we changed drivers since last year. Koke is no longer with us, but we are being joined by Mangano, who is definitely a better driver. So I still think we have a very good chance of winning.
And Paul, this is the only one you haven't won, right? Manufacturers' Cup, this is the one that you're most excited about kind of going for this year, so that you can complete the set.
Yeah, as you say, it's the one that I still miss to win. And yeah, I'm excited for this year. We have a very good team, and I wish the best of luck to my team.
Yeah. And what exam do you have on Tuesday next week that he's managing with this as well?
Well, I'm studying business economics in the unis, and I have a macroeconomics exam next week. So, yeah, I'm here for the weekend, 4 days where I can disconnect, but then I have to go back to study.
See, you can have it all, apparently. So, well, let's wish them the best of luck, and we are going to take a breakdown of the campaign explainer.
Don't forget that you can get involved with the World Series inside Gran Turismo 7 with the bonus campaign. Just click on the Winners Campaign banner on the GT7 World Map, and that's going to give you the chance to win 1 million credits for each of the Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Cup by predicting who's going to win. Just think of all the stuff you could buy with that. Don't forget you can enter a vote right up until the start. Good luck! Watch the World Series broadcast through your GT7 game, and you'll unlock some special in-game rewards through the Viewers Campaign. Watching the Manufacturers Cup means you'll be gifted a car with the winning team's livery. Watch the Nations Cup live stream and you'll be gifted an Aston Martin Valkyrie with the winning country's livery. Tune in and claim your rewards.
Wow, we love to share a little bit of brand new news for Gran Turismo at our Gran Turismo World Series events, and London is no exception. So why don't you take a look at this?
So yes, Xiaomi is. If you don't know, Xiaomi. What's that? And what's the? And I hope they bring in YU7 and they bring in the YU7 and make the light.
Very excited to announce the Xiaomi SU7 Ultra will be coming to Gran Turismo very, very soon. That's pretty great. Let's hear it. And here to tell us a little bit more about this exciting new partnership, we have the producer of the Gran Turismo franchise, which is Kazunori Yamauchi. Please give him a big round of applause. We have head of vehicle development and chief test driver, Runjo-san from Xiaomi. And we have product manager from Xiaomi as well, Pan Xiaowen. So welcome. Okay, so Yamauchi-san, before we get into the technical things, that looked really fun to drive. Was it really fun to drive?
この車走ってたんですけど、とにかくね驚きました。僕ね EV とサーキットって相性が良くないと思ってたんですけれども、この車はね全然違いましたね。サーキット本当にめちゃくちゃちゃんと走る。
Yeah, so I got an opportunity to drive this car on track, and I was actually very surprised because, I had the impression that EVs and racing circuits don't really go together very well, but this car was fantastic on the track.
でね、あともう一つお伝えしたいのは、この車僕は走らせたんですけど、加速も減速もコーナリングも全部 1.4G 出るんですよ。で、そういう車ってね、これまでなかったんですよね。
Yeah, so and when I drove the car on the track, I discovered immediately that this is a car that accelerates, decelerates, and does cornering at 1.4 Gs, and there's no other production cars that do something like that.
ちょっとね、新しいスポーツドライビングの世界だなと思いました。
And I really thought it was kind of the new era for sports driving.
Well, it definitely looked very fun. Ron, obviously the SU7 broke the four-door flat the Nürburgring. How was it to have that experience? Because that's impressive.
纽北是当之无愧的绿色地域。我们在纽北需要做到一个好成绩，需要非常快的车以及非常一流的车手，同时要有很好的天气。那在这个基础上，去年等了整整1个月，就为了等那一次机会。然后在那一次机会到来的时候，我们就抓住了它，并且去破了它这个记录，做了很好的成绩。
Actually, everyone knows the Nürburgring is called the Green Hill. Its roads and corners are very difficult. It's more difficult than anyone can expect it. So for us, in order to set a good lap time, it's important that you to have 3 essential things: a very great car, a skilled driver, and of course a very good weather. Our SU7 Ultra awaited for a whole month in order to take one opportunity to run that only lap we can run, but we took it and we broke the record.
And Pan, you're not only the project manager, but also someone told me you're a very big Gran Turismo fan. Is that true?
是的，我是 GT 的粉丝，我从 GT4就开始玩 GT， 也是我加入汽车行业的原因之一。
Yes, I'm a big fan of GT. Actually, I started to play GT since GT4, and that's the reason GT which attract me to get into the automobile industry.
小米公司特别的鼓励赛车文化，我身边有非常多的同事都拥有赛车驾照。
Actually, Xiaomi as a company particularly encouraged quite a lot of car culture in the company. Around my environment, a lot of colleagues they have the racing driver.
而且小米还在继续培养更多的内部赛车手，在2025年，我们计划在内部培养1000个拥有赛车驾照的同事。
And within the company, Xiaomi is still training more new racing drivers. Actually, by 2025, we are going to have more than 1,000 racing drivers who will be trained in-house.
最后，我们希望和全球的汽车爱好者一起，共同探索驾驶高性能电车的乐趣。
Finally, we really hope to explore the fun of driving high-performance electric cars with all the car fans all around the world.
Yes, that's amazing.
Okay.
I mean, how many of you out there would like your company to have a license at the same time? Show of hands?
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, huh? Obviously, this is just the start, Yamauchi-san, of this amazing partnership. But I think you have one more thing that you want to share with everyone here today.
あとね、もう一つありますよね。
Yeah, there is one last thing.
はい。
Yes, that's right. GT will be coming to Gran Turismo.
What about Wi-Fi? Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that, guys. It looks like this stream is experiencing technical difficulties. So, we have to do that. I gotta get this back.
To go racing
Sorry
for one
about that,
more time and crown our world champion. Jay Porsche knocking Honda off and returning the favour. Oh well, Benelli did not want to give them a Chevrolet going spinning round. Zonda's going open. He goes, lunges up the inside. Will he get stopped in time? No, straight on goes Coque Lopez, but he's got the inside for this left-hander. BMW, they're going to win the grand final of the Manufacturers' Cup here. Across the line will come Team Lexus to win the Manufacturers' Cup by 1 point.
That's what caused the technical difficulties. Sorry about that, you guys.
8th season of the Gran Turismo World Series. It's only taken 7 years to finally do this from my hometown, London! I mean, it's a city renowned for some super fun driving, obviously. It makes you not want to have a car. Right, today's going to be a lot more exciting, but maybe as stressful as driving in London traffic, as it's the Manufacturers' Cup. Now, if you missed last year, Team Lexus came out on top, but they've had a lot of driver changes. We've had one of the original OG GT drivers, Coque Lopez, hanging up his gloves. We're a little bit sad about that one. And of course, Igor Fraga has just, casually gone to like Super Formula. So there's a bit of a switch around. What's that going to mean for Team Lexus? Well, I tell you someone else who is very, very keen to know, and that is the ones who were about 1 point behind, Team BMW. So there's a lot on the line today. Let's have a cup of tea and a sit down and a biscuit and figure out how this competition's going to go down while you relax, okay?
The Manufacturers' Cup features 12 teams of 3 drivers selected from the 2025 Online Series ranking. Each team consists of 1 player from each of the 3 global regions: Americas, EMEA and Asia Oceania. 1 driver per team will race in each round, with 3 of them competing together at the World Finals at the end of the year. For today's race, 2 time trial sessions will set the grand final grid. By the end of Q1, the bottom 6 teams will have had their grid position set, whilst the top 6 teams will advance to Q2 and get the chance to renegotiate their grid positions for the grand final. In the grand final, 1 driver per team will race for World Series points, where only the top 6 teams go to score points at all. Only 1 team will be crowned the round 1 winner of the Manufacturers' Cup.
Well, there we are. That's the competition format. Welcome, by the way, to the GT desk for the first time in 2025. Great to be back here. Look, let's get straight into it. Of course, qualifying coming along the way. Q1, Q2, Grand Final. We know how it all works out. But let's have a look at the 12 drivers who are going to be taking part in those sessions. Now, Jimmy, there are some familiar faces. There are some new faces. Who have you got your eye on?
I mean, of course, it's hard to look by people like Takuma Miyazono, who's won literally everything there is to win at these Gran Turismo Live events. Kanata Kawakami as well for Team Lexus, last year's champions, as you mentioned. Very, very quick, seemingly everywhere, but of course, importantly, whole new BOP this year. So all the cars are going to be a bit different from how they were last year.
Let's have a look at the track that they're going to be competing on in the qualifying. So Tokyo Expressway, southern counterclockwise circuit, racing soft tyres in the Group 3 cars. Only 4 minutes of qualifying, crucially, in this one as well. So we reckon about 2 time laps.
Yeah, 2 flying laps, of course, and you have those concrete walls either side to basically ruin that for you. So lots of pressure here for our drivers, of course, with a live audience behind them as well. Very interested to see who comes out on top in this first qualifier.
Yeah, absolutely. Drivers then in the rigs, ready to go, and qualifying will be underway very, very shortly here. Interestingly, the pit lane is not too far away from the start-finish line, so it's a really short run from there. Let's see how it goes, though, as we get ready for the drivers to head onto the circuit. Qualifying 1 about to get underway here in London. So, drivers then are on circuit. Top 6 from this session will go through and into Q2. So this is going to be really important. As I said, not a lot of time between the pit lane exit and the start-finish line, which also means it's going to be pretty congested out there. Great on the straight, you can use the slipstream. In the corners and the twisty bits, not ideal.
Yeah, it sort of presents a bit of a challenge for our drivers. Do you maybe wait up for someone and try and use the slipstream? There are some long straights here on this circuit, so the time is going to be worth quite a bit of time. But of course, conversely, if you catch them in the corners, then that's over, it's done. But we'll see. Our drivers now starting their first flying laps here at Hiroshima in the 458 Italia. It's quite nice to hear this car. You don't see it much in real life anymore, but it sounds absolutely fantastic here in 87. There in the BMW runners up last year by a single point, so we're looking to try and get a strong start here in 2025.
Yeah, we wondered if they were going to be the first European manufacturer to claim the Manufacturers' Cup crown, but indeed, as you say, 1 point away at the end of that one. The upshot is Lexus became 2-time Manufacturers' Cup champions. What will the order look like, though, at the end of 2025? Will we see a new team becoming champion as we look at Cockburn making his way through that hairpin? It's a really tricky pass off the circuit there. You come out of it, and then you've got quite a tight left-handed kick not far away after, so you've got to pick your line pretty carefully.
Yeah, Tom and I were having a little bit of a drive on this yesterday to try and get an idea of where the circuit goes. Best of Tom out of that corner every time, without fail, big spin. Yeah, it was consistent, you know. Consistent.
Hey, consistency makes champions, JB. That's all I'm saying. Looking at Morimoto then here in the Toyota. Now we understand the straight line speed of this car pretty handy. So along this bit of the circuit, they're in great shape. The difficulty is, are they going to be as quick in the corners, in the medium speed parts of this track?
Yeah, quite a bit of weight added to that car from what I've heard as well. So definitely not going to be quite as quick in the twisties so far. Here is Kamada. So Kamada for McLaren will be setting, I think, our first representative lap time. We'll get one more after this. Kamada, of course, kind of new to this this showdown event here, so interesting to see how he's going to get on. 156.2, not bad. I don't think that's going to last for long though.
No, I think he's going to do better, certainly, because exactly that. A plethora of better lap times coming in, and Sato's bettered it by a second immediately in the Porsche. Lexus with Kawakami are going up into second position there as well. So, see, the timing screen is going to be changing over the course of the next sort of 30 or 40 seconds or so. And this next lap will be their last flying lap. So, let's see what it's going to look like in a minute's time and who will be crucially progressing forwards. Just again to remind you, top 6 drivers go through at the end of this session into Q2. If you're 7th and down, that sets your grid order for the race, and at the moment Toyota with Morimoto behind the wheel have got a bit of work to do. They can only set the 8th quickest time. Okamoto there with Nissan as well, also former Manufacturers Cup champions, only 7th fastest. They're a couple of tenths of a second away from the cut-off point right now.
In this, very easy to get eliminated earlier on, as you say, only about 2 tenths with Sasaki and Okamoto. That is the difference between going into that final shot for pole position and starting from 7th to 12th. So right now Kamada is occupying that P12. As you say, first time on these events, so maybe just trying to get into the swing of things. It's very, very different doing this at a live event as opposed to in your, I guess, your comfy sitting room at home with your nice cup of tea or whatever hell you drink at home in your own in your own time. It's your business. But, Sato here for Team Porsche. Porsche always have been a competitor. It's always been top 5, top 3, and no difference in there. Currently, Sato occupying provisional pole position, and right now is on a better lap, it looks like, than lap 4.
Yeah, let's see how Sato can do. Can they make an improvement in that time? Just 2/100ths of a second separating Sato and Suzuki in terms of the timing in this session. So checkered flag is now out at the end of Q1. So Kamada was the first driver across the line last time, and now as he comes to take the checkered flag, is it going to be an improvement for Kamada and for McLaren? They come to break the beam. Can they move up the order? They can, but it's only 7th fastest. They're still nearly 2 tenths of a second away. Gotto improves, again doesn't make it through to the top 6. So let's see what Lexus can do as they go up and improve into 3rd place. That just secures them a bit more in the Q2 session, as Tsushima not able to make an improvement there either.
Only 2 thousandths between Suzuki and Kawakami for 2nd and 3rd. Here comes Tsuchimura in the Honda, does not go faster. Nevo does Kokubun for P5. Can Miyazono make any inroads? Doesn't need to though, he's already through past the elimination phase. Team Toyota, previous champions, what can they do? Up into 4th place there, so a great second lap there from Morimoto. Can Okamoto go any faster for Team Nissan? No, he can't. P10 for Nissan.
So that knocks out Sasaki at the end of that qualifying session there, with late improvement for Morimoto in the Toyota. So Mercedes AMG will be pretty disappointed with the end of that one. It's interesting actually, because a lot of drivers set their fastest lap time in that session on their first flying lap. So I wonder whether the tyres were in the right window and they got too hot effectively on that second flying lap.
A definite possibility here, but of course now for the top 6 drivers, it's time to reset and do it again. It's qualifying under this pressure is already fairly difficult, but doing it twice in a row is, I guess, what makes our champions. So qualifying 2 now, just getting set up down below. Who will take pole position going into the grand final? Well, we'll find out very shortly.
And don't forget about that QR code on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Tell us how you think it's going to go down here in terms of the GT World Series. And crucially as well, who your driver of the day is as well at the end of this one. We'll be voting for that one. Let's take a look, though, at some highlights from that Q1 session. Of course, 2 flying laps for the drivers. It was McLaren and Kamada who set the first representative lap times, but there were big improvements as the lap times continue to count down. And as I said earlier on, the big lap times came at the start of that Q1 session. So keep an eye out and see whether the form book is the same for Q2. The only real big improvement was Toyota and Morimoto. They managed to get themselves up into 4th position at the end of that one and knocked out Mercedes AMG right at the end.
Yeah, fairly convincing as well. A couple of attempts difference there between 6th and 7th place. So those going through into Q2, Porsche for Sato, Suzuki for BMW, Kawakami for Lexus, Morimoto, Toyota, Mizuno, Subaru and Kukibun for Mazda, which is AMG, Lamborghini, McLaren, Nissan, Honda and Ferrari, going no further in this qualifying session.
Yeah, just to remind you in the Manufacturers' Cup as well, of course, we've got the drivers from the Asia-Oceania region here this weekend. For World Series 2, we've got the drivers from the EMEA region, and then so on and so forth. So we've got different drivers over the course of the different GT World Series events, which is going to be really exciting to see how it all works out. Now, we're getting the drivers ready for Q2 in a few moments' time, but have a look at this. Some really exciting stuff coming along the way from Fanatec. See what you think of this one.
Your eyes on this. The latest CSL Elite Porsche Vision GT wheel from Fanatec. Fanatec have made this based off of the wheel from the Porsche Vision Gran Turismo concept car that you can drive in GT7. As you can imagine, it is an engineering marvel. It has a cast aluminium core built for serious force feedback, plus custom magnetic shifters that keep that stunning cutout spoke design. Garner, who drives for Porsche in the Manufacturers' Cup, tried it earlier and was pretty impressed.
Yeah, please be patient.
So, a new Porsche set wheel coming very shortly. Very exciting stuff. Now, the drivers then are getting themselves ready to go for this Q2 session. Jimmy, of course, everybody was out in Q1. Not everybody's out in Q2. How is this going to work? What can the drivers take from the Q1 session? What can they have learned, and how can they apply that in Q2?
I mean, you can almost treat it like it's a little bit of practice, just very high pressure practice. I mean, you're going to know who's fast, so you're going to know sort of what the time is to beat here. You can't just sort of cruise through that first qualifying session. You do have to push hard. So everyone's going to know whereabouts they need to be. But, I think now it's just going to reset, try to take a deep breath, and get back out there and do the job again.
Yeah, another 4-minute session for the drivers coming up as they head out on to the circuit. There's a bit of disappointment for some. There's delight, though, for 6 of the other drivers, and we wait to see how those positions will be occupied on the grid. Will we see continual improvements once again from Porsche? Will they be able to take pole position here in London? We'll wait to find out. Over to Q2 then, drivers out on track, ready to begin their first flying laps in the session. Who's going to be the first driver to break the beam? It'll be Takuma Miyazono in the Subaru. Comes across the timing line then. What can he set in this session? We'll wait and find out. It's going to be very important to, as we said, get the lap times in, because you only get really 2 bites of the cherry, 1 bite of the cherry now, as a matter of fact, in this session.
No, interesting, we chatted to Miyazono before, and he's kind of saying that he's feeling the pressure a little bit. He doesn't quite feel as fast as he used to compared to the drivers around him. But, you know, this is Takuma Miyazono, someone with a storied history in the Gran Turismo live events. We know he has pace. Let's see if he can execute it here in this Subaru. This is where this BRZ is going to be best, through these little twisty bits through here. Very agile, very light car. Maybe that's a little bit of horsepower, though, compared to the others. Yeah, through that left-handed kick, which caught me out yesterday when we were doing a bit of practice. Thankfully for Takuma Miyazono, no such dramas to worry about. This right-hander as well, you've got to hug the inside there, feed it to the wall on the outside, and then you're basically on the loud pedal all the way until you get to the next hairpin bend through this series of sweeping, fast left and right-handed kicks. Look at the elevation there in the circuit as well. It really does give you a lot of camber on the inside of some of these corners. It rises, it peaks, it troughs. It is a proper challenge for these drivers. Yeah, super important part of this lap now is the breaking into this hairpin. Let's see if Miyazono nails it or not. So heavy on the anchors now, full brake pedal, ease off, let the car run into the corner, down to first gear for the rotation, second for the grip. Nice and neat inside. There's a small bit of wheel spin there on exit, but I think that's about as good as you're going to get it there. So checkered flag is now out. 1 flying lap and done for the drivers then here, and we're in the final sector for Takuma Miyazono. No slipstream for him here in this one, and is that going to compromise their lap time? Will it hurt them overall? We'll wait and see what it looks like through these, again, final sweeping corners. Nice and neat and tidy. Just 1 firm movement of the steering wheel there for Takuma Miyazono as he now aims to break the beam and set the first representative lap time then here in Q2. What does it look like for Team Subaru? They come to take the line. It's a 1:55.3. That's not bad. It's not the quickest time that we've seen so far, though. Let's see what Toyota can do with Morimoto across the start-finish line. Slower, though. 5/10 slower, almost. Kawakami looking very quick for Team Lexus. Can he go to provisional pole? No, he can't. A bit slower there for that last sector. Here comes Suzuki for Team BMW into provisional pole. 55.1. Can Sato improve? No, he can't. P3.
So they were provisional pole in Q1. They're only third best here. What about Cockerman then? And he is sixth quickest then. So they really got time in that lap. The upshot in is Saya Suzuki and Team BMW, the runners-up from the Manufacturers' Cup in 2024 that occupy pole position here ahead of the grand final for the Manufacturers' Cup. Really exciting stuff there, and a very commanding lap time, actually. They had a good advantage over the rest of the field.
Yeah, that is the fastest lap of all qualifying. So you can definitely say that the fastest car is in the right spot on the grid there.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to seeing how it's all going to go down then here in terms of the race, which will be coming along the way in a few moments' time. So for those drivers who have qualified quite far down the order, Jimmy, obviously they've got a bit of work to do in the opening stages of this race. But is it a disaster? I mean, there's a lot of opportunities to slipstream here.
You know, we always say when racing at Nürburgring, you can definitely win the race at T1, just lunge everyone, it's fine. Don't do that, it's not going to go well for you. But there are, seriously, a couple of quite heavy braking zones here, down towards the bottom of the course, of course, the corner just before the pit lane. Really good spots to fire one up the inside if you're confident on the brakes. So obviously not ideal starting down the bottom half of the grid, but there are chances here to make those positions back.
Yeah, absolutely. As we say, grand final will be coming along the way very shortly. We'll also be catching up with the driver who qualified on pole position, Saya Suzuki, for Team BMW in a few moments. And we'll be very excited to see what is going to happen here in London. Let's get some qualifying highlights, though, from Q2. So it was interesting, actually, because despite the fact that Porsche were quickest in Q1, they were significantly slower in Q2. Miyazono set the first representative lap time at the end of that session, and we wondered whether they would be able to get as far up the order as they wished to do so, but unfortunately it was not to be for them. Morimoto set a pretty handy lap time, but nowhere near quick enough compared to Subaru. But the upshot is that it was Saya Suzuki who put in an absolute blinder. He managed to extract the maximum. Here is the starting grid then at the end of Q1 and Q2. So this is how the grid will line up for the grand final, where it'll be Saya Suzuki and BMW on pole position. Miyazono joins them on the front row for Subaru, Sasso for Porsche and Kawakami for Lexus on row 2. Then alongside on row 3 you've got Toyota and Mazda. Further down the order, Sasaki, Goto, Yamamoto, as well as Okamoto, Sugimura and Hashima. So that is your grid then for the grand final. Let's catch up with our pole sitter, Saya Suzuki for Team BMW.
Yes, I mean, that was an intense race. Saya, obviously, you're driving for BMW. There was only 1 point in the Mac Cup last year. How important is it that you win this year? Because you were so close.
1ポイント差でやっぱり逃しちゃったんですが、今年これを挽回するのがどれぐらい自分にとって重要ですか？
そうですね。去年は惜しくも1ポイントで2位という成績で終わってしまったので、今年はチャレンジャーとして挑戦している形で、本当にもう予選会から勝ち上がってきたので、相当の気合の方は入れてきているつもりです。
Yeah, so last year, I mean, we lost it just by a few points. So, you know, this year, I consider myself a challenger, up and coming. You know, just gave it all in the qualifying, and yeah, that's how we're approaching it.
And is it better or worse to have Miyazono in front of you or behind you? What's your pressure?
宮園選手が前にいる方がプレッシャーですか、それとも後ろにいる方がプレッシャーですか？
私にとっては後ろにいる方がプレッシャーを感じますけど、今はもうどういう状況でも走っていこうかなっていう形でもう気合は十分です。
Yeah, you know, usually when he's behind me, I feel the most pressure, but now it doesn't matter where he is. I'm just going to give it all.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Let's give him a big round of applause. Well done. And we're going to throw it back up to you, Tom and Jimmy.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Jules. Just a reminder, of course, this is only stop 1 on the calendar for the Gran Turismo World Series of 2025. We're here in London this weekend, but in September we head over to Berlin. Very excited for that. And then we head over to Los Angeles. How exciting is that going to be? That's the beginning of November for round 3. And then the World Finals takes place in Fukuoka in Japan at the last weekend before Christmas. So someone will be smiling as they open their presents on Christmas Day. And who is that going to be in the manufacturer's Cup?
No, yeah. But we're going to find out at our first round here, of course. But yeah, looking forward, especially to that LA round. Hadn't been there for a long time.
Yeah. excited to see what happens over the course of this weekend as well in terms of the grand final for the Manufacturers' Cup here tonight. How do you see it going down, Jimmy? Can you get a read on anything given what happened in quali?
No. I'd say that I think that
Yeah, what do you think
I'm
about
surprised by Miyazono starting position. I honestly thought it'd be a bit further down. Not
I
because
think
of the driver
there's,
himself.
I think it's going so
They've been
well.
quite weak over these last few years.
What
They
about
haven't quite had that pace.
thumbnail? This
Now
thumbnail.
it's starting to come back in again. But
This
the big shout
the
for me was
thumbnail,
Team
the thumbnail
Toyota,
is
of course.
is
Not
uh,
quite
it's
again
kind
where
of
I'd
cool.
see
It's
them being.
cool.
Usually
I like
top one,
it.
top two, but struggling in that midfield there. So all to play for. But again, this circuit is fantastic. So many overtaking spots here, and big concrete wall on the outside when you get it wrong. So always fun to watch.
Absolutely. Let's just have a look at the details then for this grand final. So Group 3 tyres, Group 3 cars rather, racing soft and medium tyres. There's no mandatory tyre change, but they won't make it through on one set of mediums or one set of soft tyres. That's an impossibility, so they will have to start at least once in the course of this race. 20 laps, though, over the course of this one, and 4 times tyre wear, so 1 lap is equivalent to 4 laps, and there are a lot of medium-speed corners in here, and a fair bit of dirty air kicked up from these Group 3 cars as well, so the front tyres are going to be crying out in pain by the end of their stint.
Yeah, I do wonder if there's going to be just some absolute hero that tries a no-stop, but
if you don't know,
as you can
let's
see
follow
from
me.
our lovely little tyre graph, we
Let's
really
follow
don't
me.
think that's
This is the
possible. In
actual
fact,
race, you know.
the 13 laps there, I was told by one of our race
actual race.
directors, that is pretty much the maximum they think that tyre can do before it just completely falls off.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to predict the
Ooh, I
winner
like
as
that.
well. You've been online and had a look at it. You think Takuma Miyazono is going to be the man of the moment. I mean, given their qualifying, I wouldn't say that that's a particularly strong guess at the moment, but this is Gran Turismo. Anything can happen, and it usually does. BMW, of course, starting from pole position. They only got 6% of the vote, though.
I always feel like quite lucky we don't see the bottom half, like, so because it's 2% for 6th or whatever it is. What's it going to be for like 10th?
Yeah.
those poor guys. Where's the support? But here is the man that you guys have all backed at home, Takuma Miyazono. I mean, for good reason. We say it all the time. The guy has won pretty much everything there is to win in these GT Live events. Also, coined the term Miyazono strat. Anything a bit silly, Miyazono did it, and definitely one to watch out for. You can never discount him.
Yeah, absolutely. Drivers then are getting themselves ready to go. Let's go down to Jules on the ground then as we get ready for the grand final of the Manufacturers' Cup here in London.
All right, London, are you ready for the grand final? Let's hear it! Well, now is the time. It's round 1, Manufacturers' Cup. I hope you're ready at home. Let's hear it! Woo!
20 laps, 12 manufacturers, 12 drivers, but only one will be crowned the winner here in London. It is World Series 1 of 2025. Let's run you through the grid and how they're going to be lining up ahead of the grand final at the Tokyo Express.
Well, I can hear you. That way I can hear you.
Well, Sai Suzuki absolutely
Say that again.
in qualifying.
That trophy can look sick, my boy.
Joined on the front row by Takuma Miyazono for Subaru. Row 2.
So you have a quick pause for a second. I'm going to show you the we're gonna pause this for a second. I'm gonna show you my my commercial for
well. Sasaki lined up P7 for Mercedes AMG.
Never giving up.
So for Lamborghini down in
If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be an learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up.
there is Sai Suzuki. Of course, he's at a bit of a disadvantage at the start of this one.
So that is the
because he hasn't got the whole of the air being punched in front.
So that is
behind. And are they going to be able to use that slipstream to their advantage once we get onto the long straight here? Well, we're ready to go.
Oh,
Series
yeah, that's the commercial for World Series.
Is underway. Sai Suzuki leads the field across.
I kind of like it.
Once again,
I like it. It looks cool. I like it. It's cool.
I think they're a bit too far away, really.
Anyways,
what about though into the next series of corners? We're on a long straight now and heading into a very heavy braking zone. Is that going to leave BMW under a bit of pressure here from Subaru? Can Porsche and maybe even Lexus get themselves involved in the action? So here it is, Suzuki that leads on the soft tyres from the fellow soft shod Takuma Miyazono down into the hairpin bend. No moves at the sharp end of this field, but the rear of them looking pretty close actually into there.
Yeah, everyone actually following line of stern through there. So Suzuki and Miyazono lead the pack. Look with the gap already between Miyazono and Sato in that Porsche behind, making use of that soft tyre for now. But as you say, Tom, a lot of medium speed corners here, and there is the dirty air that is thrown up by these Group 3 machines. So it's about being a little bit more, maybe a bit more careful in the corner than you like to be. Now Miyazono kind of hanging on for dear life here on the back on Suzuki in that BMW, using the toe to his best possible use, and he might be close enough for a go into the hairpin at the bottom here, but does he want to leave? That is the question. So on board now with Miyazono through this long twisting section, completely flat out in his Group 3 cars, and now we go towards the hairpin. Suzuki goes defensive in the BMW. Miyazono maybe looks to the inside. No, he stays there for now, and the positions remained unchanged at the front.
It's interesting there how the difference in line sort of converged back up, because of course the track bottlenecks up. Sato having a big wiggle out of the hairpin bend. That might leave them under a bit of pressure here from Lexus and Kawakami. It's not a particularly long run into sort of the next big braking zone. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, it sort of flicks right and then left. So you're going through these medium speed corners. The problem that you've got, though, in these medium speed corners where you're stuck in the wheel tracks of a driver in front is, of course, you've got dirty air going through there. You're going to be punishing those front tyres a little bit more. So the converse for Miyazono is that, of course, he has got the slipstream, which is great, but in the corners he's going to be really ruining those fronts.
Yeah, Sato just hit the wall there on the exit and it slowed him right down. Here comes Kawakami in the Lexus. The reigning champion.
I was asking if you can do a live stream
how easy it is to make a very small mistake. You touch that wall, you lose so much speed there.
Amia, this is Oxygen is Oxygen is planning a live stream on Sunday. So me and you will react to Kuba's a bomb meme, and then we will react to some other videos. What do you say about that?
So he has no interest in staying behind Team Lexus, but of course,
deal, my friend.
Coming tomorrow to the Oxygen XX channel.
Look in their rearview mirror and going, cool, great. Keep fighting, boys. Keep going. We'll just put away in front.
Change of positions further down as well. Okamoto and Goto have just exchanged 8th position to the advantage of the Nissan driver. So they're up then into P8. Let's see whether they can make any further forward progress. Interestingly, the soft shod runners have pulled out a gap of about 2 seconds, so they're now out of that slipstreaming range here in this part of the race, which is great news there for them. But what about Ryota Kokuman here in the Mazda? He's going to pull alongside the Lexus, coming down the straight in towards the big braking zone. So it's now Mazda versus Lexus, and it's Mazda with the advantage with the inside line, and Toyota and Morimoto are going to try and join the party. There's a bit of hip and shoulder, a bit of contact into the hairpin. That's going to send Sasaki wide and drop them down about 3 or 4 places as a result of that as well. So it's now starting to get a bit fast and a bit frantic with these medium shot runners, as we still sit side by side now here between Morimoto and Kokuman for 4th place.
Kawakami there in that Lexus, and it will get a little bit rowdy now, Tom, as you say. There is running really one line through these corners here due to the cambers on the circuit. So as soon as you start going 2 by 2, you just end up having usually inevitable contact. We're on board now with Hiroshi Okamoto for Nissan. Great seat here of the fight ahead of us. Lamborghini in front in P7, almost pushing that thing along in our glorious turbo brick as we go down to T1 one more time. Really fast left hand, this one you want to use all the roads here. Watch out for that barrier on the right hand side. I think maybe a little bit of contact with the wall there from Morimoto, but still able to hold the position for now as we come down to the hairpin for the 3rd time.
So Kokuman then in the wheel tracks here of the Toyota. In the background there, you've got Mazda looking Like they're trying to put a bit of pressure, but also behind as well, you've got Goto versus Okamoto part 3. Now Okamoto gets the better of the Lamborghini driver through into that hairpin once more. The gap at the front still continues to build. They're just running their own race here at the moment, and have pulled out an advantage of about 2.5 seconds or so over Sato on the medium compound of tyres. Let's have another look at what happened then down into the hairpin bend. This is what cost AMG some track position. They're going to get biffed here, I think, by Okamoto first of all, and Goto there was on his inside as well. So that just lost them 2 places and possibly a third. Just able to get the better of them on the exit of the corner.
These guys watching the Spanish Grand Prix by any chance? Good effort, good move, strong move. But meanwhile, at front of the grid, Miyazono had actually pulled back on to the rear spoiler of Suzuki in front. So there is pace there in that BRZ. I was giving it grief here at the start of the show, but actually he's looking pretty quick, and he's just doing what he needs to do, just holding on to that slipstream, just sitting there. And what sort of trivia is that? Listen to the song "Philosophy" by Alexandros, right?
I've never heard of the song, so I can't really pass comment on it. To be honest.
Hey, go check it out, guys.
If it works for him, it's a Japanese pop song, as we understand it. So if it works for him, great news, because he's sitting in second place at the moment, and he seems like he is he's in the groove at the moment. Go and have a listen to that after the race, obviously, and let us know what your thoughts are on it. Meanwhile, Kawakami here defends from Morimoto. Across the start-finish line we go. Morimoto with the inside line and track position. Kawakami possibly about to come under threat here from Cockpit as well, but fourth place does change hands to the advantage of the Toyota. Morimoto is now in front, and they're starting to fall off the coattails of Sato in the Porsche here as well. They're about a second or so away, so they need to be careful about how they start battling here.
Speaking of battling, Kawakami is very keen to get that 4th place. Here comes Kokubun as well in the Mazda, looking to almost push that Lexus through the gap. So, well, if you're not going to go for it, I will, but they all stay one at a time for now. And of course, not much you can really do outside of the slipstream round here. It's a one-at-a-time circuit. There are a couple of places to overtake, but right now it is just follow the leader. And with 4 laps in, the soft tyres seemingly still have the pace advantage over the mediums, but that will switch as the race goes on. So right now, over Suzuki, if you're Miyazono in front, we're trying to build that gap. We're trying to make the gap as big as possible, so to prepare for that inevitable tyre fall-off. The medium runners, though, we think they can go upwards of 13 laps before switching to that soft tyre. So it's about making this tyre last, but also by keep pressuring those soft runners, because that tyre will burn out quickly.
Well, you wonder what the soft tyre runners are going to do with Suzuki and Miyazono. Are they going to go for that 2-stop strategy here in this race? As Kokubun looks to the inside of Kawakami, and hits Morimoto there as well. There's more contact behind with Kawakami, then subsequently getting into the back of Kokubun. That's allowed the door to be open for Okamoto in the Nissan, who now drags alongside the Lexus, and ready to join into the party is Yusuke Goto in the Lamborghini coming through into the right-hander here as well. So it all got a bit frantic there for just a few moments. The upshot is that it's cost Lexus positions here.
How tight this racing is. You've got P4 all the way down to, well, last, and they're just separated by about 2 seconds, all of them there on a similar piece of tarmac. Kawakami has lost a few places now, down 2 places from his qualifying place, but conversely behind him, Okamoto up 3 in the Nissan. He's the biggest mover so far, so watch out for him. He is on a good one.
So, under investigation then is Kokubun versus Morimoto. We saw that collision a few moments ago. Let's see what the stewards decide on that one. Meanwhile, you've got the Porsche there, just sitting in 3rd position. The gap is still stabilised at about a second or so between themselves and Morimoto in the Toyota. Meanwhile, you've got Kokubun versus Kawakami, who's on the outside there. You've got to be so careful with this one, though, because they are so close on circuit. You open the doors to take a wider line, and then that possibly means that someone can walk through it from behind, and it compromises your entire run down the next straight.
Yeah, it's you have to be careful here. So interestingly, look at the tyre wear there on those front tyres of Suzuki compared to Miyazono. You'd kind of think maybe that Miyazono would be worse given he's sitting in that dirty air, but I think that car's just a bit lighter, and the weight of the BMW really...
Okay, so wait, what you just missed is like Xiaomi is coming to Gran Turismo 7 with their car, the X7 Ultra, which is the high performance
progression through. Maybe just playing the longer game here in this one and waiting for the right time to strike. Kokubun goes to the defensive line.
Oh my goodness, really?
Yes.
Wow, that's so amazing, bro.
someone is going to be more disappointed than Arusha
I'll show you what
after this race. I'm fairly sure of it because they are so close to one another out on this circuit that you can just sense the fact that it is starting to bubble up. We're only on lap 5 as again the McLaren of Corona looks to find there.
There's not really a move there to be made. Just sort of sticking there and their nose alongside the rear wheel.
It's just finding
getting contact, but yeah, really getting a little bit desperate now because if
there you go. There it is. What do you think? Wait, what do you think?
I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I love this anyways. I love this electric car anyways. I wish they should have come to USA because if you don't know, they don't sell in USA. They don't sell this car in USA. Our country. Like, our country. We don't have this in USA anyways. I wish they should have come to it. But the tariffs, which Donald Trump, because Donald Trump's fault. You made this Xiaomi SU7 Ultra don't come to USA. Do not come to USA. Right. I hate Donald Trump. I like Kamala Harris.
Miyazono, if he can keep this up, might get one more lap out of those soft tyres. And those soft tyres, they do tend to be pretty quick right until the end of their life. So that could be the difference here. But the gap now between Miyazono and Sato, and we're getting up to about 4 seconds now, 4.4 on the last time of checking there. So they are doing the job here, making that gap, but I think it could have been bigger. I don't think that's exactly... They haven't made the most of it, guys.
Morimoto here looking against Sato as well. The gap was up to a second about 3 or 4 laps or so ago. It has now come right down, and Morimoto is bringing a train of cars along with him, which might leave Sato under a bit of pressure here. And will that mean that they're able to find their way through and present an opportunity for that final podium place? It's only the early stages of the race. It's not getting too excited about things at the moment. Still plenty of time for the complexion of this one to change. But we come along the start-finish straight. Sato keeping the car very firmly on the left-hand side of the circuit. They're going to go for a defensive line down to T1. They move over to the normal racing line. But you can see the closing speed there with this Toyota, and subsequently how much quicker they're able to go through into turn 1. They have to back right off of the pace, even though they've got more of an advantage and a bit more grip underneath them, courtesy of some fresher tyres then here as well. And you sense that it's starting to bubble up here for this podium place, and Sato knows that. Goes for the defensive line. Morimoto goes for the outside into the hairpin. Can they invent something into the braking zone? Morimoto on the outside and now through into third.
It's that Toyota now starting to come strong in the second part of the race. Maybe just a little. Notice that. Are they going to box this out? So the pit lane is just in his hairpin here. Suzuki leading the soft runners down towards there. Miyazono in P2, who we ride on board with now. Do they peel to the left-hand side of the circuit? They do. Both of them into the pit lane there. Switching over to that medium compounder tyre. They've decided they can't do any more. And Suzuki and Miyazono both pit together.
What they now need is a nice bit of clear air to run along with each other in this race. Pit loss time about 11 seconds or so, plus the time that you are stopped for, which as you can see is fairly minimal. Where are they going to emerge back into this race, and how much is the distance in terms of seconds going to be between Sasaki and Suzuki? Meanwhile, the sharp end of this one, now the battle for the effective race lead is starting to get a bit scrappy. Sato has gotten back in front of Toyota. Meanwhile, Suzuki and Miyazono, they've got about 6 seconds or so to Sasaki. That's a good buffer for them. They can just run their own race, carry on doing their own strategy, and not worry about being caught up in other people's dramas.
Well, this is the important part of the race now for Suzuki and Miyazono. You need to really push now and make the most of that clear air in front, as Tom says. So Sato, conversely, in the same sort of position. These next few laps, they need to make sure they are not fighting so much and just trying to get that lap time in, because they, the guy directly behind is not the threat for the win. It is the 2 cars in 11th and 12th place.
And the converse to that, of course, is that could also happen to the likes of Morimoto, Sato, and They're obviously on a good strategy on the medium tyres. In theory, they'll be quicker at the end of the race if indeed they do go on soft tyres, which is what we're expecting them to do. So, but the problem is, if they start fighting amongst one another, start squabbling, that's going to cost them time, and if it costs them a second, half a second or so, that can be the difference between challenging for the victory and battling for the lowly podium places.
Well, we're going to find out in about 5 laps time when these guys come in and bolt on a set of those soft tyres. So it does seem that the strategy is that one stop, and it is make the mediums go as long as possible and then get on those soft tyres. So a reminder, the points awarded here for the top 6 cars, of course, 6 down to 1 from first to 6th position, and that will count, of course, towards the final all the way in Fukuoka at the end of the year. So score points early, push in a good place for the rest of the year.
So on board here then with Jun Hashima in the Ferrari. We know that car's pretty handy. We've seen good pace from it over the course of last season with Medina, who took the victory in World Series 2 back in Prague. Meanwhile, let's have a look at some dramas then here between Miyazono and Suzuki. So this is coming down into the hairpin after the first corner. And you see Miyazono getting the inside line, getting track position there against Suzuki. The positions, though, yeah, they still sit differently there. So Miyazono is now back in front.
So interesting, that's Miyazono basically making a move for the lead of this race. He's decided he doesn't want to sit behind Suzuki anymore. He wants to push hard on this medium compounder tyre. He's already made a gap about half a second there, so maybe we're going to now see the real pace of Miyazono in that Subaru.
Well, what was the good thing about Miyazono's car in that first strategy? The tyres. It went, 4 or 5% higher than Suzuki's. And he was in dirty air over the course of that first stint, so maybe he now wants to run in clear air, save those tyres even more, and maybe the fact that that car is being pretty kind to the rubber that's on the bottom of it will prove to be a benefit for them later on in the race. Meanwhile, we look at the battle for the race leaders it sits for now. Morimoto still defends. Sato's looking for the inside line. Kokeman's getting involved as well as Kawakami. Kawakami's on the inside then for third position against Kokeman. Sato there looking to pick the pocket of the Toyota as well, but nothing doing. So Kawakami was the only beneficiary despite a lot of action kicking.
Interesting, behind this, it's only a 4.5 gap until we have
when this game ends,
they're not too far
when the manufacturing cup is over,
really showing
round one,
new medium tyre compared to the old right now, as Morimoto leads into Sato from Kawakami, the snake echoing
from the start,
tunnel here in the Tokyo
beginning
down to the hairpin one last time.
It's called the essence of never giving up.
Morimoto really trying to bend into this hairpin.
This
These guys need to maybe start working a bit more intelligently together if they want any hope of taking the win here today. Kawakami,
I also
on the outside. Is he going into the pits?
Yeah, he
can't say what a move if he's making that one.
Yeah, straight to the pits then for Kawakami. Now, interestingly, where's he going to go in terms of strategy? Medium tyres, about a second or so slower, and he's gone for another medium set of tyres. So he's going for the medium strategy then, presumably for the end of this. I'm hoping that the longevity of that compound of tyre will prove to pay dividends later on in the race. And what's the thing you need in pit lane? After pit lane, you need clear air. So he needs to come out without any dramas, no traffic behind him is the crucial thing there for Kanata Kawakami. As he emerges back into this race, he's about 5 seconds or so off the back of Suzuki. Again, works out quite nicely for them here, and he'll have decent enough rubber to the end of this one.
Just have to wonder if that's the play or not. Like, it's a tricky one because we know how fast that soft tyre is. But we're seeing the tyre life here on our screens, and a lot of the guys are struggling. And if they want to make that soft tyre work, which is about 7 laps maximum on that, Sato, for example, who has pretty much no rear tyres left compared to the guys around him, needs to make those tyres last another 3 laps.
Well, just to give you an idea of the difference in pace between worn mediums and new mediums. New mediums for Miyazono and Suzuki, they're in the sort of mid 1 minute 57s. The drivers that are all on the medium tyres that haven't pitted yet, the sharp end of this race that you're looking at, they're all sort of in the early to mid 1 minute 58, so they're about 8 to 9 tenths of a second slower at this point.
Maybe Kawakami saw this and thought, okay, right, I can see that I'm stuck in this train. I can't do anything else. If I pick the soft and everybody else,
we're halfway there.
I might as well
do
something different.
This race, halfway there to the end, halfway there to the finish.
We'll see if anyone else
halfway there to
now will be the time to do it at the end of this lap. Coming again, that means the winner will Kawakami get an undercut. We will see. Morimoto still leading this train of the non-stoppers so far in Team Toyota. That car still strong here in 2025.
Sato's the one you need to worry about because he's got lower tyres compared to everybody else around him. Kokeman, incidentally, in the Mazda, looking pretty handy there with 45%. Now Sato's into the pits in the Porsche at the end of lap 10 then. So how is this going to work out? What's the gap going to be relative to Kanata Kawakami? Sasaki and Sugimura also following him into the pit lane there as well.
look at the gap. There's Miyazono, there's Kawakami, and they just swan off into the lead. Massive lead for those guys. They have played the right thing for now. Kawakami there just about getting by Sato, so he pitted 1 lap earlier. Tyres are fired up, already up in temperature, and by Sato he goes. So maybe that was the right call there for Kawakami.
Well, the undercuts work. The problem is now that he, of course, has worn his tyres a little bit more because he's done 1 more lap. So will they come to bite him in the backside in the closing stage of the race? He's, enjoying the fruits of his labour as it sits for now, but let's see what it looks like in 8.5 laps' time. Meanwhile, the sharp end of this one, the top 6 drivers have not yet pitted. That's Toyota with Morimoto, Kokuben with Mazda, Okamoto with Nissan, Hashima with Ferrari, Goto with the Lamborghini, Kamada with the McLaren, and Miyazono, of course, is the first of the drivers that has now pitted. So 6 drivers yet to box. Will they come in at the end of this lap? Let's wait and see.
We will, as these guys still squabbling, although they have calmed down somewhat now. I think they understand that they do need to just push and try and lose as little time as possible. Let's look at the background. You see there in the background Kawakami and Sato, but here is Suzuki and Miyazono, both looking very quick right now, and importantly, only 4.8 seconds now behind Kamada in the McLaren, who's yet to stop. So these guys are going to jump everyone when they box, but they are going to be on that older tyre at the end. But track position is important, Mountain.
That's the problem, isn't it? You've got to find that balance between using track position and also wearing your tyres out. They've got a 5-second buffer over Kawakami, which is, great for them right now, but is it going to leave them vulnerable at the end of the race? Let's wait and see what happens, though, as we come down in towards the pit area. Does anybody dive into the pits? Morimoto there on the outside as Kokuben goes over to take the lead. We know that Mazda has been pretty kind on its tyres so far in this race, and they still sit side by side on the exit of the corner. So the RX Group 3 car then now moves ahead of the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT concept. So it's Mazda who hit the front for the first time in 2025 now.
Here they are. Kokuben, of course, a bit of a veteran from these series. There you go. Started playing GP, he's 3 years old. This is why he's so much better than I am.
3 years old. I was still trying to play the PlayStation, and my sister was putting the controller underneath so that I wasn't getting in the way of her playing the PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, giving you the unplugged controller.
That's
classic.
That was it. I know.
I do that now. I do that music still now.
You wait till Guy gets a bit older, mate. He's going to love that one. So Kokuben it is that leads at the start of lap 12. Then Morimoto in second. You can see these drivers have now started to pick up the pace. It's interesting, actually, because they were in the mid 1 minute 58s at once upon a time when they were squabbling amongst one another. They've now picked up the pace to sort of the low 1 minute 58s, some even in the higher 157.
Wait, check the chat.
57.6 last time around, which was pretty handy. Not quite as quick as we've seen from some of the medium shop runners who are on fresher tyres at this stage, but given the fact that they're 12 laps old, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can see, though, the gap between Kamada and Suzuki. Very, very close right now. As Paul Ura looking on at his teammate, Team Mazda. Of course, he will be in the car at one of our other events representing them. Berlin, yes, he'll be in there for them. Just hoping that he gets off to a good start here this year for Team Mazda. So here are the tyres as they stand. Now, these guys now, they're all going for the soft. There's no doubt about that. They're trying to make the 13 laps work on the medium compound tyre. Morimoto in the background looking to try and get back past Kokuben. Kind of working together there, giving each other the slingshot without bump drafting and just pulling themselves along a bit quicker than the rest of the group.
Now we're coming towards the end of what we thought was going to be a useful window, and indeed the top 2 are coming in at the end of lap 12 then, and they're also being followed in by another driver as well. So Goto is into the box there. So now it's only 3 drivers that are yet to pit in this race. So a lap earlier than we're expecting the ultimate race distance to be, but it's interesting there, the drivers that started on the medium tyres now going onto the soft compound. So the real outlier here is Kawakami, who of course went medium in this race. Is that going to prove to be to his benefit later on when those soft tyres are, I imagine, going to be pretty clapped out?
Yes, I mean, add as well, I didn't notice that Suzuki did get back by Miyazono at some point, so yeah, 56.6 on the last lap. These guys are flying at the moment. You can see there are Suzuki and Miyazono in relation to those who have not stopped yet. So using that fresher medium tyre, they've been able to catch back up onto the pack in front of them, but now they're going to be in the converse position where their tyres are going to be a little bit worn and they're going to be chased down by the guys who are now on those soft tyres. Morimoto, and Goto on there as well. They'll be joined very shortly, I'm sure, by Okamoto, Hashima and Kamada.
Well, you get the sense that this race is going to start bubbling up towards the end of this one. Let's have a look at how Suzuki got back in front of Miyazono through these fast left-handers, and that was a beautiful bit of slipstreaming there in the BMW. Switched to the inside line, got through, and is now ahead of the Subaru for what we effectively think is going to be the race lead. You can see they've ascended up to 4th position, and they are lurking there in the background from the top 3, who of course are still owing that one final pit stop in this race.
So here we are into the tunnel again. Now I have no doubt we're going to see the top 3 now peel into the pit lane left-hand side on the way into the hairpin here. That will release, of course, Suzuki and Miyazono back up into 1st and 2nd place. But can they stay there? Sato behind there on a fresher medium compound tyre. Kawakami as well in the same strategy. Then behind them, it's the soft runners. Those, they're going to be very, very fast at the end of the race. But do they have enough time to chase down the leaders? Well, stay tuned and find out.
So into the box come the top 3 then. So all pit stops now beginning to work out. Keep an eye out though for Kokubun, Morimoto and Goto. They're on the soft tyres. We reckon they could go about 8 or 9 laps or so in this one. So are they going to be able to be a threat and close down on the medium shop runners in the end of this race? They're only about 2 seconds off the back of the likes of Sato and Kawakami, who've gone medium in terms of the tyre strategy, so they might be able to challenge for the podium. The overall race window is a further 5 seconds up the road from that one, so I think it's going to be a bit of a tall order. But if these two start squabbling, and indeed maybe they come to blows, then the door is wide open.
Yeah, I mean, Kawakami's tyres aren't even that much fresher than, I mean, it's a couple of laps at Miyazono and Suzuki, so I think that might not have been the play there for Team Lexus. I mean, we'll see how it goes. We've still got a few laps left of this one with the strategies yet to unfold. So here's Goto now with Morimoto. These guys just boxed for those soft tyres, so they're going to be fast now. I think really, realistically for their minimum lap time, 56s. They need to be in those 56s if they have any hope now of catching the cars in front, which means working together and not trying to lunge each other every corner. But if you go to right now in the Lamborghini and you think, oh, maybe I'm a bit quicker, how do you resist that?
So Kenta Morimoto then behind the wheel of the Toyota, coming under pressure here from the Lamborghini into the hairpin we go. It's an interesting corner that, because it's sort of 2 corners in one effectively. You've got to really time your line quite nicely because it's a fast chink to the left following this one. You sort of have to get out of the throttle and then back on it. Lining astern are these top 3, or I'd say top 3 in this.
Wait, can you check the chat? Can you check the private chat, boy?
Because the problem is if they start squabbling and then destroying their time.
Yeah, what? Yeah, go back to the profile picture that is that shows Black Star and Tsubaki.
Even the overall victory, depending on how this one plays out.
Yep, still need to wait and see how that's going to happen. We're watching Kokubun here. 55.9 was his last lap. So that is the fastest lap of the race. Kokubun and Team Mazda are on a charge now. In front is Sato, who opted.
Say that again. Oh.
Don't worry, I'm working on it. Don't worry, I'm about to work on it.
Yeah, wing back the previous profile picture. Go back to the previous profile picture on YouTube. It's so much better.
Okay.
So etc., then you would imagine, like you say, that they are not going to be able to keep hold of that podium. On board we ride here with Kokubun in P5.
What's important now, though, for Kokubun is to get by these guys as quick as possible. He cannot afford to be stuck here. On board then with the Mazda R8 Vision GT concept stealth model, longest name I think in GT7 there. That glorious rotary engine as we come through this left hand. You can see how much quicker those soft tyres are. Now Kokubun is just about going to be getting the faintest sniff.
So that's your previous profile picture. I want you to go back to your previous profile picture. Hear me? Hear me? I want you to go back to what I showed you. That's your previous profile picture. Hear me? Please.
You can see Sato a little bit wide going through that hairpin there as he eases onto the throttle here. Does Kokubun sort of takes a couple of stabs at it as he tries to
hear me, please.
Traction on the X of this one, and as you said,
yes.
He might see previous profile picture. That's what I want you to go back to.
It's sort of squeaky bum time
Yeah,
at the moment, because you know that you're going to be coming under pressure. The sharp end of this race, what Kokubun would really benefit from is if Suzuki and Miyazono start getting involved in their own squabble here as we look back for this battle for 3rd place.
This is going to be it. This is going to be decisive here for Kokubun. We go for a move down to the hairpin. He needs to. He's got the toe. He's got Morimoto and Goto behind behind him as well, all looking to try and make the move. Sato goes defensive to the inside. It's now too wide. Where will Kokubun go? Nowhere to go there. So Sato blocking the inside there. Kawakami also on the outside. Kokubun pushing his way through there up into P4. But Kawakami now really is a bit of a sitting duck here, Tom.
Yeah, bottlenecks up there as well. Goto trying to get involved in the act as well. He's just trying to show a wheel on the inside as well as Morimoto. So through to the right-hander we go. Kokubun on the inside, Kawakami on the outside. Soft versus medium. Soft is going to reign supreme then here. And is Kawakami going to lose maybe another position, possibly to Goto, and indeed then also to Morimoto as well. So 3 places lost in the space of as many corners. Next target for Kokubun, Goto and Morimoto is going to be Sato in the Porsche. Across the timing line we go, down into T1. The Porsche driver of Sato knows that, takes a defensive line through there, and now we know that the soft tyre has got a greater amount of grip underneath, and surely it's going to be into the hairpin bend where they're going to think about a lunge.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do there. The idea is just try and get a good setup now down to the hairpin, use the toe, and Sato, I mean, valiantly defended, but you can't help but think it's not going to be for nothing as we now go down towards the hairpin. Kokubun looking to the outside of Sato, goes defensive in the Porsche. Will he be able to outbrake the Mazda on the outside? He tries to. He's still alongside the Porsche, fighting for dear life at P3. Keeps the pace for now, but on the inside there, who is that?
That's Goto. Goto on the inside with a massive send. The door was sort of half open there, and now it's Sato versus Goto, side by side on the exit of the corner. This is getting fast and frantic. Goto with the inside line against Sato, again soft versus medium. Now it's the Lamborghini driver that's up through and into the podium places. Sato almost faces the wall on the outside. Morimoto picks his pocket into the Toyota, and now also Kokubun ready to join in on the action.
Yeah, great defensive effort there from Sato, but short-lived. Cannot defend against that medium tyres. Contact in the tunnel. Is there going to be a crash? No, Goto in the wall there slows him right down. Kokubun back up into P4 now, leading this train. Sorry, Morimoto in the Toyota there is now as well. These guys all fighting furiously for that last podium place. Sato in the wall. He's round. He's round. Sato there in the wall, and there goes Porsche's effort for any position here in round 1 of the grand final.
Well, we said it was going to bubble up, and so it proved to be exactly what we didn't want to see happening in the Gran Turismo World Series, and unfortunately there was a lot of fast and frantic action going on in the space of a handful of corners, and unfortunately that many drivers into that position just doesn't go. The upshot is it is Porsche and Sato that have been the big losers in that one, and they are now going to be going home pointless. Points only down to 6th place here, just to remind you. The upshot is, whilst this battle's been going on here, Jimmy, it's allowed that nice bit of clear air for Suzuki in the BMW, Miyazono in the Subaru, to just have enough of a buffer to not worry about what's going on behind.
Let's take a peek at what happened then. So on board Kawakami, Sato goes to the inside, a lot of moving there from a lot of people, so a little bit of contact on the back. Oh, Kawakami there caused that. I don't think it was on purpose at all, but unfortunately it doesn't really matter. He's the one that caused that contact there, so I do think we're probably going to see a penalty for Kawakami at some point. Meanwhile, they're still fighting, Tom. They're still fighting for that third place. I think they all know now they can't catch Suzuki and Miyazono, so you might as well just have this last position. But of course, the investigation, the result of that might change this race entirely.
Yeah, Kawakami not giving this one up. He's on the medium tyres, but his tyre wear relative to those around him, pretty similar on the soft tyres. And of course, we know that medium is slower over the course of a lap. So this is some great driving from Kawakami in terms of the lap time and keeping hold of track position. But of course, we know that incident between himself and Sato is now under investigation. Meanwhile, the sharp end of this race, we've not mentioned it too much over the last few laps. They're still only 0.3 of a second away from one another. And this is going to start to get pretty frisky, isn't it, at the sharp end of this one?
You get the impression maybe Miyazono is waiting, and Kanata Kawakami, as we expected, given a 3-second penalty there for his part in the incident with Team Porsche and Sato. I mean, again, not intentional, but...
Wait, Kawakami gained 2-second penalty for car crash.
Penalty is going to take him way outside the points here. As you can see, points awarded first, down to 6th position. What I can tell you now is Kawakami won't be having any of those.
That is a big shame there for Team Lexus, and not the way they'll have wanted to kick off their title defence in the Manufacturers' Cup. So now, what does it look like for the final podium place as well? Morimoto still right on the coattails of Ryosuke Kokubun in the Mazda at the moment. We're right on board with Yusuke Goto, who was up as high as 3rd a few moments ago, but has sort of lost out, really, as it were. Now he's got a face full of Lexus as we come across the timing line, and there is the penalty being served for Kawakami, who drops back down to, what, 9th position now, so that's really proven to be quite detrimental to the reigning Manufacturers' Cup champions here.
But that feeling just sucks as well, because you get to the line, you have to slow down for 3 seconds, then get back up to speed. So 3 seconds is more like 5 or 6. You really get hammered for that. So yeah, unfortunate for them. But of course, the fight still rages on at the front of the field for P3. It's Mazda versus Toyota. These guys have been rivals in the Manufacturers' Cup for about as long as I can remember it, and still going on here. Goto in the background in that Lamborghini. It's a good run for Lamborghini, to be fair. But we haven't seen Lambo at the sharp end of one of these events for quite some time. So seeing in P5 there challenging what could possibly be for a podium is really impressive there for the Italian brand.
Yeah, I wonder if the balance of performance update for this season has just helped them a little bit in terms of closing that deficit down, because as you say, we haven't seen Lamborghini up the sharp end of the field for, as you say, a fair amount of time. So we'll see how it goes over the course of the remaining World Series events in 2025. Meanwhile, we look here at Kokkoman with Morimoto again still very close behind. 2.5 laps now to go. We go from day into night and into the daylight indeed here as well, as Kokkoman again takes a defensive line. Morimoto goes to the outside line, the sharp end of the field. The lead of the race is changing hands here between Miyazono and Suzuki as well. Now it's the Subaru driver that's just gotten in front from what we can see on our timing screens, as third place is now occupied by the Mazda. We need to look at the battle though for the race lead, because it's all very good looking at the final podium places, but the two of Miyazono and Zaya Suzuki are getting pretty frantic here then. We thought this was going to start to kick off, and lap 18 is where the battle begins.
Yeah, I was watching the live timing, Tom. I saw Miyazono got Suzuki just down into the hairpin there, and Suzuki using the power of the BMW was able to pull back through, but now Miyazono making his move. 2 laps to go here then at the grand final, round 1 here at London for the Manufacturers' Cup. It's Team Subaru leading Team BMW at the moment. Meanwhile, the fight's still going on for 3rd, 4th and 5th, and here is that move for the lead here. So Miyazono there using the toe up the inside in the Subaru. Very nice and tidy through there. Just now making that move stick. And I think he lost the drag race up here a little bit, but had the right line into the rest.
We
Yeah, it worked quite nicely there for Takuma Miyazono. Sort of lunged his way to the inside. The door was kind of half open, but he decided to open it fully, going through into that corner and force Suzuki for a wider line to compromise his compatriots' exit going through there. And now we look at the sharp end as the headlights glimmer in the nighttime here at the Tokyo Expressway. It's Subaru versus
Miyazono in first place. That's what I'm rooting for.
Yes, let's go!
Yahoo!
Straight line, but the Subaru definitely quicker in the twisty.
Yahoo! Yahoo! Yeah!
Up into first place goes Team BMW.
Oh.
Where Miyazono wants to be though, because on the next lap, the final lap, he'll have the toe.
Okay.
Down to the head.
Check the private chat. Check the private chat. Check the private chat.
Go here. Yeah, showing his nose there, going for a very late move on Suzuki. They're just trying to unsettle him on exit now. As the
check the private chat.
Please. To move around on that.
And I just already did.
So that medium compound starting to get now to the end of its useful life, but these guys still pushing onwards. 3-second gap behind the Morimoto in the Toyota as we come on to the last lap here at Tokyo.
So winner takes all stakes, and of course points available for the top 6 drivers here in this one as well. Who is going to be taking the maximum crown though? And Suzuki was just into the wall on the outside there as we head across the timing line to begin the final lap. It's BMW versus Subaru. It's Suzuki versus Miyazono as we head down into turn 1 for the final time.
Here we go then, a little bit of contact there of Suzuki on the way through. Had to be millimetrically perfect through here to get the best line, and Miyazono now in a great position for a move down into the bottom of the course. But do you go for that if you're Miyazono? Do you just wait and be patient and take the move into the hairpin? Let's wait and see. Miyazono deep in the slipstream, goes to the outside then, coming down to this first hairpin. Going to get squeezed out, I think, by Suzuki. Looks to try and go back inside, but as Suzuki might have outbraked himself here, will Miyazono get the cut back? Not quite for now.
Suzuki's got that line covered there quite nicely, hasn't he? It's going to be all about the traction, the exit out of this corner and the run through into the next series of them then. So we ride on board with Takuma Miyazono battling for the victory and trying to get maximum points for Subaru to try and take that crown back in the Manufacturers' Cup in 2025. And now we know that Miyazono pretty handy in the slipstream and diving his way to the inside. He's going to have to think about this one quite carefully then here. Use that strength of the Subaru in the last stages of this race.
Here we are then in the toe. Miyazono quite far back though. It's going to be quite a big lunge there for Takuma. So Suzuki in front. Miyazono on board looking to try and displace them. Coming down to the hairpin now, deep in the toe, 272 kilometers an hour. Suzuki goes defensive. Miyazono goes all the way to the outside. Can he try and get a pup? He does! Plays him like a fiddle up into third place. Goes Takuma Miyazono. Masterful move there from the multiple champion up into the lead. He goes with only a few corners to go.
There is no adage for experience in the Gran Turismo World Series, and so it proves to be for Takuma Miyazono. Sasaki and Kawakami are under investigation in the closing stages of this race, but that was absolutely brilliant from Takuma Miyazono. Just a handful of corners now remaining. Can Suzuki invent something? I think he's a bit too far away, unless you can think about a lunge to the inside, but it is then going to be maximum points in Gran Turismo World Series 1 here in London for Team Subaru and for Takuma Miyazono, who win the grand final. What a fantastic end to that race. Suzuki and BMW come over the line in second. It's Kokeman for Mazda on the podium in third place. Morimoto for Toyota, Okamoto for Nissan, and then Kamada for McLaren at the end of that one. Complete the points finishers, but what a final lap, what a bit of driving, and what great respect between two very experienced competitors here.
Man, that is what experience looks like. Just set up Suzuki so nicely there. Just think, yeah, I'm going to go to the outside. Suzuki outbrakes himself, and just as that gap opens up, Miyazono places that Subaru there, and that's it. Done deal. Great move there for someone who didn't really lead any of the race, but you don't need to lead any of the race until that bit right on the last lap, and that's where he was. So great work there by Miyazono and Subaru, and Suzuki too. Shame to lose out for Team BMW, but great podium for them, and of course for Kokeman as well, Team Mazda. So an awesome 1-2-3 there for Subaru, BMW and Mazda.
Yeah, great respect between those two drivers, and looking forward to the highlights of this one then here. So we know it was BMW and Suzuki who started this one on pole position. They decided to go for the soft tyres, likewise Takuma Miyazono in the Subaru. Everybody else though started on that medium compound. It was pretty sort of even Stevens at the sharp end of this race. The two at the front, as we expected, began to build a gap. It started to kick off
what do you think?
But it was sort of in the mid stage of the race where it really got
I think the grand finals was so cool. It was so good.
Going to that soft tyre early.
And what a good ending. What a good ending. Miyazono's finally stopped Sasaki.
To be part of this constant squabbling between Sato, Morimoto. They treated them with respect. They went for the pass, they didn't block it, they just let it happen. And they worked together and sorted out on the last lap, which is, I guess, what you want to do, really, if you're in that situation. And ultimately, all that fighting, like here, for example, seeing Kawakami just punch Sato into the wall, all that fighting just led to their losing time.
Yeah, absolutely right. And you can see there Miyazono with his move on the inside of Suzuki, just unsettling the BMW driver. This is in the closing stages of the race, though, and this is where it really began to take effect for Miyazono. We know the straight line speed of that Subaru wasn't particularly brilliant, but it was the tactics from Miyazono, just sending it through right at the last minute, making that decisive, clinical move stick. Great respect between the two to give each other racing room. The upshot is it is first blood to Takuma Miyazono in the 2025 Manufacturers' Cup for the GT World Series. And now it is the Japanese manufacturer that is on top after this event as well. Of course, the points reflecting the grand final results. Suzuki and BMW in second, Kokeman and Mazda in third, Morimoto with a great fourth place as well as Okamoto, and Kamada in the McLaren sneaking the last points finish from Goto at the end of that race, who dropped down to 8th in the Lamborghini.
Yeah, such a nice move there from Miyazono at the end. Of course, Hashima there gets a bit of an honourable mention. He did start last in that Ferrari, got up to P7 unfortunately though. Doesn't matter, no points to P7, but it was a good move nonetheless.
No, absolutely right. Well, there we go. Takuma Miyazono and Team Subaru take the spoils here in London. Let's go down onto the floor, catch up with Jules and see what our winner makes of it.
Wow, okay, so Saya, I mean, that was a lot. You are definitely a challenger. That was some amazing driving. How do you feel? Obviously, it's not the exact result, but I mean, you're up there.
めちゃくちゃいろいろあったレースですごいやっぱりチャレンジ精神がすごく見えたんですけど、今の心境はどうですか？結果は悪くないとは思いますけど。
そうですね。まず予選から全体としては練習よりも結構タイムが出たので、そこら辺は予選は本当上出来だったと思います。で決勝もいい感じにペースを作れていて、最後の最後ちょっと宮園さんとのちょっとバトルに競り負けたっていうそういった感じになりましたね。ただちょっとレースの内容としては本当に良かったと思うので、次のグランドファイナルワイルドファイナルでも備えて頑張ろうと思います。
Yeah, so I was actually faster than had expected in qualifying and practice, and I was also able to keep a good pace in the final race. But it's just in the end, fighting against Miyazono, I lost, and but the race overall was very good. So I'm looking forward to the World Finals. So I think we're going to come on strong.
I mean, everyone at some point has Miyazono in their rear wing mirrors, and it's a lot. So don't worry about that. Ryota, it's good to see. That was great. It was a really great race. Obviously, it wasn't. Was it kind of how you expected? These guys all the time. You know them really well. How did that come into play?
国民選手レースはすごく良くて期待通りの展開です。
Very special for this stream right here. Very special for this stream. Wait, I don't want to spoil the end slide because the streams are over and this is very special slide. I hate to spoil this.
So, I kind of failed a little bit in qualifying, and we ended up on 6th. But during the final race, there was a battle going on in front of me and behind me, and I'm just glad to have been able to make 3rd, within that chaos.
I mean, it was a lot of chaos, so you did very well to come in 3rd. Should we give them a big round of applause? They did super well. That was a tough race. Let's throw it back up to Tom and Jimmy.
Cheers, Jules. Good to catch up there with our top 2 finishers of Sai Suzuki and of Takuma Miyazono. And let's get confirmation of the points. Of course, it does reflect the race results here tonight in the Manufacturers' Cup. The upshot is, it is now Subaru with a points advantage over BMW. Mazda there in 3rd place ahead of Toyota, Nissan, and then McLaren. That is your top 6. So, yeah, pretty close at the sharp end of this one. I have to say, Lexus and especially Lamborghini will be pretty disappointed with how things have worked out here tonight.
Just some big names there with no points. Porsche, Lexus, Honda as well, AMG, who have always been very quick in these events. This new balance of performance maybe not suiting this circuit here today, but of course, full points there from Subaru, so they'll be happy with that.
Absolutely right. Well, there are your points rankings then after the Manufacturers' Cup. Let's head, though, back down to Jules on the floor.
Let's give a huge round of applause to Takuma Miyazono. Okay, so we had a conversation yesterday, and you were like, oh, I'm not really confident. Like, everyone's really fast. I don't know how it's going to go. And I said, you're fine. You're going to be fine. And then every time you say this, and then you just come in and win. What the hell?
昨日話してた時はなんか今回ちょっと自信がないんですよねとかなんかいろいろ言われてましたけど、みんな速いしと周りが私は大丈夫ですよって言いましたけど、毎回ですよねこういう会話があって最終的にはもう全部
なくて、ただ予選で上手にいけて、で鈴木選手と一緒によく練習してたんですけど、彼がもうなんか圧倒的にレースが速かったので。選手のペースが速かったおかげかなというふうに個人的には思ってます。
Yeah, so this time around, I actually really didn't think I had the pace, but in qualifying, I actually did a lot better than I thought. I was placed in 2nd, and I practiced a lot with Suzuki actually, and he was really fast in all the practice that we went through. So my thought was, if I kind of followed his strategy, I might have a chance at the very end, and that actually worked. But I think it was because Suzuki was really fast that I was able to kind of keep up with him.
Okay, so Gallo and I were sitting there watching, and we were watching. We're like, Miyazono's going to wait till like the last couple laps, definitely. And then you came in with that sneaky going wide, coming in on the inside thing, and we're like, this is just classic Miyazono. I mean, these are your moves. This is what you're known for.
そうさっきガロ選手と話してたんですけど、宮園選手絶対最後の2ラップぐらいで仕掛けてくるよみたいな話を一緒にしてたんですよね。で、実際一番最後で外からガッと内側に入っていって、もういつも宮園選手が見せている、典型的なパターンだという話を彼としました。
久々にうまくいったなと思いましたね。ただ いつも残り2周で、2周か1周かで仕掛けることが多いんですけど、みんな手の内分かっているので、ちょっと違うことをしないといけないなと思って、3周目でしたかね、最後から3周目に仕掛けましたね。はい。
And what do you think about this overall race, Queen? What do you think about this overall race?
Looking to do this on the second or I usually look to do this on the
Wait,
second
Oxygen, technically, what do you think about this overall race?
because everyone already knows
I think it's kind of satisfying to me.
And what do you think about the ending? Ending. Miyazono won the race.
The ending was beautiful. The ending was so beautiful.
For me, the ending was so dope. Ending was very dope.
But now I don't know what I'm gonna
do. Very dope. You know what dope means?
Well, you'll figure out, and I'm sure you're going to do great. You always do great. Let's give a big round of applause to Takuma Miyazono! So good. Let's throw it back to Tom.
Adjective for very dope. Very good. Very good.
Time by the Thames here for the Gran Turismo World
It's adjective. Adjective, that means it's very good. Very good. Very good. Very dope. Very dope. I chose Miyazono. I love Miyazono.
In an alternative world where it was the Jimmy Broadbent driver of the day, who would you be voting for?
It's always really hard to look by the guy who's won the thing. You know what I'm saying? I think Miyazono had some great moves here, but Kokeman also was just completely involved in that massive squabble for the entire race and managed to come out on top. So I think a vote for me there for him. But of course, it's not up to me. It's up to you guys at home.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that was a really exciting race, and we saw some great strategies going on there. I have to say, Kanata Kawakami kind of left languishing in the latter stages and was kind of chasing his tail with the medium strategy. Obviously, didn't work out for him, and then the incident kind of compounded that.
That's the problem when you go for that sort of strategy. You never really have ultimate pace. You have kind of 7/10 pace all the way through the race, and he was left really trying to fight with his guys on softs. Got desperate, and unfortunately led to that contact with Sato, which led to a 3-second penalty. But for the reigning champions, Lexus, that's about the worst start they could have hoped for.
Yeah, not ideal at all. And I'm still not 100% sure what happened to Lamborghini and Gotto at the end of that one, because he was right in the podium battle at one point and then just dropped right back out the points.
We didn't see, which is a shame there. But again, he was really good. He made a really nice move earlier on in the race. I hope we'll get a replay of that at some point where they're all fighting in front of him, and he through goes Hamilton.
Easy for you to say.
It's not. Can't do it. But no, it was good racing. A bit of a slow burn at the start, but as with most of these GT races, they all come together nice in one big melting pot of chaos. It was great fun.
Absolutely. Well, let's then get ready for the podium ceremony here in London for the GT World Series.
I told you.
Please welcome onto the stage in third place for Team Mazda from Japan. It's Ryota Kokeman.
We hear the
in second place for Team BMW. Please welcome Suzuki.
We hear the word Miyazono say Yahoo!
Okay.
Okay, get ready.
And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the winner of Gran Turismo World Series 1 here in London for Team Subaru. It's Takuma Miyazono!
Yeah! I'm so proud of this.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to please stand if you're able for the national anthem of our winning manufacturer, Team Subaru.
I was about to wait to make it water. Drink water.
The Japanese national anthem plays out for Team Subaru, the winning manufacturer of the first Gran Turismo World Series event of 2025. And now time for the trophies to be presented. First of all, the third place trophy. It is presented by the PR manager for Mazda, Owen Mildenhall, and it is awarded to the man who drives for Mazda, Ryota Kokuman. Third place for Team Mazda here in London. Second place trophy is presented by Belman Adarevic, the Chief Marketing Officer for Fanatec, as she makes her way onto the stage here in London. And of course it is awarded to the driver who finished in second place for Team BMW, Saya Suzuki. And the winning trophy is presented by the Gran Turismo Series producer Kazunori Yamauchi as he makes his way onto the stage in front of the crowd. And the trophy is awarded to Team Subaru's Takuma Miyazono!
Finally, did it, Miyazono! That is the answer to the one. That is never give it up. Right there, the champion. Never give it up. That's it. Never give it up.
I want a t-shirt now that just says classic Miyazono. How about you?
You've been Miyazono'd.
Yeah, you've been Zono'd. Or, I don't know. We'll brainstorm the finer details of it later. But that was what a great way to kick off round one. How about you, Tom?
It doesn't seem to matter what he does. It turns to gold, doesn't it, to Takuma Miyazono? He just, as I said in commentary, there's no adage for experience. And that was two very experienced drivers in GT going head-to-head. Great respect. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you were saying that you thought that maybe Miyazono, because you're spending so much more time outside doing kind of real racing, that like maybe that would affect it, but apparently you're totally wrong.
Maybe I should shut up for a bit, shouldn't I? And just not say anything. No, if anything, he's just got better, which is very frustrating with your anyone but Miyazono, basically.
Yeah. I mean, it's been amazing to see everyone in the crowd here. Have you guys enjoyed it? Yeah. Do you fancy coming to Berlin or Los Angeles? Because we got some tickets for that. Let's take a look. About this. How about you?
Yeah, can't wait. It's of course kicks off in Berlin for World Series 2 in September. Then in November we head off to Los Angeles, Fukuoka for the World Finals in December, right before Christmas. Someone's going to be going home pretty happy under the tree, aren't they?
Well, I'm just going to stay out for Christmas and New Year in Japan. That sounds blooming great. I don't know. How about you? Well, you know, you've got to get back, haven't you? You've got things to do at home.
Yeah, busy now. I don't know if they're having time off on that, but it's going to be an awesome year this year and a great way to start off this. Miyazono, of course, the tourist for Team Subaru.
And also a good night as well, let's be honest, because we've got Nations Cup coming along the way in, what, a couple of hours time? 20 to 7 local time we kick off, don't
Just
we?
enough time to get a few little sandwiches.
What is it with you and sandwiches and cups
I'm
of
trying to
tea
keep
at the
it
moment?
thematically London and English.
I need
all
something
right?
stronger after that race, I've got to lie to you.
All right, well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure to bring you the first round of the Manufacturers' Cup. We'll be back very, very soon with the Nations. You don't want to miss it. See you then.
We're not way on. Okay,
PlayStation.
Alright, that's it. Alright, what do you think? What do you think about the Nations Cup? I mean, not the Nation. The Manufacturers Cup.
Well, that was fun. It was fun at least.
Yeah. And what a dope ending, anyways. Good ending.
Yeah. Also, Blackstar like to introduce himself to PlayStation. All right, PlayStation. I want to give you a shout out to this amazing video. And also, I want to give a shout out to Richard for reacting to this masterpiece. This masterpiece.
Blackstar, you're the best.
I know, buddy.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching this live stream. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe to Always Fun. Subscribe to Oxygen XX3 for more content. Stay tuned for the Bombing number 2 Encounter of Chaos. Gonna drop the trailer soon once I get the Bomb Stress toy out. Subscribe to Percy 2003, which he isn't here for now. I mean, I didn't invite him to stream, but I want to tell him anyways. Subscribe to Percy 2003. And make sure you stay tuned for the Bombing number 6, the Hangout, which Percy 2003 is working on. It's coming this summer.
Oh, yeah.
Rated PG. Anyways.
Yeah, rated PG because this is not for kids. It's for adults and teens only.
Anyways, this is Richard Hang.
This is Blackstar, the greatest assassin alive.
Signing off.
See you later, chumps.
See you at 1:30. See you at 1:30.
If I made a mistake, then I would have to retake and do it once again. Even feel the pain. But there also lays a prize. And that made me realize that even if I was to fail, it will be a learning trail. If I hope for a trophy, I just can't rely on luck. I must do hard work to show the world what I can do. That's the essence of never giving up.